In an era dominated by hyperconnectivity and the relentless pursuit of digital presence, the concept of public perception has become an intricate dance between reality and illusion. We live in a world where every action is scrutinized, every word is weighed, and the thin line between authentic leadership and performative staging is constantly being tested by a discerning public. Modern celebrity culture often demands a high price, forcing individuals to navigate the complex waters of advocacy while under the intense glare of global media scrutiny. This delicate balance becomes even more precarious when the individuals involved carry titles of immense historical weight and expectations that stretch far beyond the boundaries of mere entertainment. The modern viewer has developed an incredibly sharp intuition for detecting discrepancies between what is preached from the global stage and what is practiced behind closed doors. It is within this fascinating realm of public image branding and the search for authentic representation that our story begins today. As we delve into this deep exploration of media dynamics, public expectation, and the undeniable power of authenticity, we invite you to become a permanent part of our community. Please take a quick moment to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and activate the notification bell so you never miss our in-depth analysis of the defining cultural moments of our time. Your continued support allows us to keep bringing you these comprehensive breakdowns of complex global events. The phenomenon of public advocacy by public figures is certainly nothing new, but the landscape has shifted dramatically with the advent of advanced digital platforms and instant global communication. Today, a speech delivered in a distant European hall can be picked up, analyzed, and critiqued by millions within a matter of minutes. This instant feedback loop has created a situation where public figures can no longer rely solely on the prestige of their positions or the elegance of their scripted remarks. The audience demands a profound level of consistency that aligns an individual's public statements with their personal lifestyle choices and business ventures. When a prominent figure steps up to a podium to lecture the world on ethics, safety, or environmental responsibility, the public immediately looks at their track record to see if the walk truly matches the talk. Any perceived gap between the message and the messenger can rapidly transform a well-intentioned initiative into a public relations crisis. This dynamic is particularly evident when analyzing the recent public appearances of high-profile individuals who have chosen to distance themselves from traditional institutional structures in pursuit of an independent global platform. To understand the current state of global public perception, one must look closely at the subtle cues that define public interactions. It is often not the grand proclamations that tell the true story, but rather the immediate environment surrounding an event. When a universally recognized figure addresses a crowd, one expects a certain level of natural enthusiasm, a palpable energy that fills the room and draws people in. The presence of crowds, the raising of smartphones to capture a piece of history, and the general buzz of excitement are all standard markers of genuine global influence. Conversely, when these elements are conspicuously absent, it raises profound questions about the actual reach and impact of the person holding the microphone. The contrast between expected adulation and reality can be jarring, revealing a disconnect that goes to the very heart of modern celebrity branding. It suggests that perhaps the narrative being presented to the media does not quite align with the lived experience of the ordinary people on the street. Atmosphere plays a crucial role in how any message is received by an audience. A speaker can deliver a flawlessly written text filled with impactful vocabulary and dramatic pauses, but if the setting feels cold or indifferent, the message loses its power. This phenomenon is frequently observed in international forums, where speakers often find themselves addressing half-empty rooms or audiences that appear largely disengaged. In these moments, the physical behavior of the speaker often shifts, subtly reflecting an underlying awareness of the lack of connection. The cadence of speech might quicken, the voice might rise slightly in pitch, and the body language may betray a sense of discomfort or restlessness. These minute physical indicators are highly telling, showing a subconscious reaction to an environment that is not responding with the anticipated level of warmth or validation. It is a powerful reminder that true influence cannot be manufactured through public relations strategies alone. It must be earned through a consistent and authentic relationship with the public. As we prepare to look closer at the specific events that have triggered this intense public conversation, we must consider the broader context of modern advocacy. The topics being debated today, from digital safety for children to the ethical implications of artificial intelligence, are of paramount importance to society. These are issues that affect families worldwide and require serious, dedicated leadership. However, the effectiveness of the advocacy is inextricably linked to the credibility of the person delivering the message. When the public perceives that a speaker is treating these vital societal issues as a backdrop for personal branding or as a script to be performed, rather than a deeply held conviction, the entire cause can suffer. This tension between the critical nature of the topic and the perceived insincerity of the messenger forms the core of a growing debate that is currently captivating media analysts and the public alike, setting the stage for a deeper investigation into a recent high-profile gathering. The international stage was set in Geneva, a city long recognized as a neutral ground for global diplomacy and the discussion of humanity's most pressing dilemmas. Here, a high-profile gathering was organized to address the deep and complex challenges of the modern digital landscape, focusing specifically on the immediate dangers that travel globally, instantly, invisibly, and intimately. When the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, took to the podium to deliver her address, the expectations from her team were undoubtedly high. She spoke with a measured deliberation, attempting to channel a powerful, authoritative persona, reminiscent of a seasoned political fixer or an idealized television statesman. Her words were carefully enunciated, each syllable articulated with an intense gravity designed to underscore the vital importance of the subject matter, which centered on the urgent need to ensure that children are safe by design rather than safe by chance. Yet, as the speech progressed, a strange and palpable tension began to fill the space, not because of the gravity of the words themselves, but because of the stark visual contrast presented by the immediate surroundings. The grand presentation seemed to unfold within a curious vacuum, lacking the vibrant public engagement that typically accompanies individuals of such immense global standing. A close inspection of the event's footage reveals an atmosphere that can only be described as surprisingly subdued. In the background, ordinary passers-by continued their daily routines, running errands or heading to lunch, completely unbothered by the presence of a woman who has frequently been described by her spouse as one of the most recognized and influential figures in the world. There were no surging crowds, no frantic security barriers holding back enthusiastic admirers, and perhaps most telling of all, an almost complete absence of smartphones raised to capture the moment. In the modern cultural fabric, the ultimate currency of celebrity is the digital recording, the collective urge of a crowd to document an encounter so they can declare to their peers that they were present for something truly historic. To see a member of the British royal family standing in a public space delivering a formal address, while the immediate public remains entirely indifferent, creates a jarring disconnect that challenges the very foundation of the Sussex global brand narrative. This profound lack of enthusiasm suggests that the immense popularity and magnetism so often claimed by the couple in various media projects may not translate as seamlessly into the real world as they would like the public to believe. This noticeable lack of recognition appeared to have a subtle yet distinct impact on the speaker's physical delivery. Experienced body language analysts who have scrutinized the presentation have pointed out several minute indicators that suggest an underlying state of restlessness and growing discomfort. As the speech advanced, Meghan began to exhibit small shifting movements, stepping backward slightly, before moving forward again, a physical manifestation of a speaker trying to find their footing in an unresponsive room. Her characteristic cadence began to accelerate the words, crowding closer together as if trying to push through the presentation more rapidly. Simultaneously, her voice experienced a subtle shift in register, rising to a slightly higher pitch, which often indicates a tightening of the larynx caused by subconscious stress or an awareness of an awkward environmental dynamic. These are not glaring errors that an average viewer would immediately notice, but rather the delicate involuntary cues of a professional performer who realizes that the performance is not landing with the desired impact. There is an inherent embarrassment in delivering a high-minded lecture to an audience that is visually sparse or fundamentally disengaged, and this realization seemed to cast a shadow over the entire proceeding. The core issue that continues to trouble commentators and audiences alike is not the validity of the message itself, but the fundamental credibility of the messenger. The protection of vulnerable children from the predatory algorithms and systemic dangers of major social media corporations is a cause that commands universal agreement and serious policy intervention. However, the public's willingness to accept a lecture on this topic is deeply compromised when the individual at the podium appears to navigate a life that stands in direct opposition to the principles they are actively preaching. This classic discrepancy between public moralizing and private behavior has become a recurring theme in the public criticism of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. It is a dynamic that mirrors the intense backlash faced by the couple regarding their environmental advocacy, where they established organizations like Travelist to teach global citizens how to shrink their carbon footprints, while they themselves continued to travel extensively on luxury private jets. This perceived hypocrisy creates a barrier of cynicism that prevents the message from being received with the seriousness it deserves, transforming a vital societal conversation into a showcase for personal branding. The contradiction becomes even more pronounced when examining the timeline of the Duchess's digital interactions. Only days before standing in Geneva to deliver an impassioned critique of social media and the profound dangers it poses to youth, she had shared a personal photograph of her young daughter Lilibet online. This action immediately ignited an intense debate regarding the concept of digital consent and parental responsibility. Critics argue that if a parent is genuinely concerned with protecting children from the modern perils of the internet, the most basic and effective step is to shield their own offspring entirely from public exposure, ensuring they are not placed in any shape or form onto the global web where they cannot possibly consent to the long-term consequences of digital visibility. To publicly drag social media companies for their failures while simultaneously utilizing those very platforms to share images of vulnerable minors is a contradiction that the public find increasingly difficult to reconcile. It creates the impression of a strategy where personal privacy is a highly selective concept used more as a shield against criticism than a deeply held family value. Furthermore, the speech in Geneva included a sharp critique of the rapid advancement and ethical dangers of artificial intelligence, a topic that is currently dominating international policy discussions. Yet this technological warning stands in bizarre contrast to Meghan's recent activities during her travels in Australia. While engaging with highly vulnerable populations, including children battling cancer and survivors of the tragic Bondi Beach shooting, the Duchess was actively utilizing these emotional public appearances to promote a specialized AI-powered shopping application. This application was designed to allow users to instantly scan the photographs of her embracing these survivors so they could immediately shop her closet and purchase the exact outfits she was wearing. The juxtaposition of using a humanitarian visit with traumatized individuals as a commercial launchpad for an artificial intelligence fashion app, while subsequently lecturing an international body on the dangers of AI, is an extraordinary example of the mixed messaging that continues to alienate the public. It suggests a commercial drive that operates completely independently of the ethical standards being promoted from the podium, leaving the viewer to wonder which version of the Duchess is the authentic one and which is simply a role being played for the cameras. To truly understand why this growing disconnect matters on a global scale, one must examine the broader history of the British royal family and the precise reasons why Prince Harry and Meghan Markle chose to exit their roles as working royals. When the couple announced their decision to step back from the monarchy, they frequently suggested through various media projects and interviews that their immense popularity had caused significant friction within the institution. The narrative put forward was one of a young, dynamic couple whose overwhelming success and public adulation had sparked jealousy among senior members of the royal family who felt overshadowed by the newcomers. However, the reality witnessed on the streets of Geneva offers a starkly different perspective on the nature of true global influence. If King Charles or the Prince and Princess of Wales were to stand in a public square, delivering an address, the event would instantly attract massive crowds, heavy security presence, and an overwhelming wave of public recognition. The complete indifference displayed by the public toward the Duchess of Sussex demonstrates that without the backing of the ancient institution, the manufactured celebrity brand struggles to command genuine attention. This brings us to a deeper examination of the backgrounds of the individuals involved and the contrasting styles of public service that define the modern era. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has consistently maintained a high level of public approval precisely because her advocacy is seen as an extension of a lived reality rather than a performance for the cameras. Her work in early childhood development is characterized by long-term institutional commitment and an authentic connection with the public that does not rely on moralizing lectures. She does not preach to her audience, but rather invites them to participate in a shared societal goal. This authenticity is exactly what critics find lacking in Meghan's recent public appearances, where she often appears to be playing a scripted role inspired by powerful fictional characters. The attempt to force an authority in a space where one has not established a credible track record creates an artificial atmosphere that the public rejects. Instead of elevating the vital causes they champion, the Sussexes often inadvertently center the narrative on themselves, transforming serious discussions about digital safety or environmental responsibility into debates about their own personal consistency and commercial ventures. The historical context of royal advocacy shows that the most successful initiatives are those where the high-profile figure acts as a supportive conduit for the real experts rather than positioning themselves as the primary authority. In the case of the Geneva Conference, many commentators noted that it would have been far more impactful if the parents who have actually lost children to online dangers or the technological experts working on the front lines had been given the central spotlight. The Duchess could have utilized her undeniable media reach to introduce these individuals and stand by them in a supportive capacity, allowing their authentic stories to drive the message. Instead, the choice to place herself at the absolute center of the presentation while simultaneously engaging in contradictory digital behaviors created a distracting spectacle. This approach highlights a fundamental flaw in the modern celebrity advocacy model, where the desire for personal branding and international prestige often eclipses the practical needs of the cause itself, leaving the public feeling fatigued by continuous lectures from wealthy elites. The commercialization of humanitarian efforts is another critical factor that has alienated a substantial portion of the global audience. The revelation that a public figure was promoting a commercial artificial intelligence shopping application to monetize outfits worn during emotional meetings with cancer patients and tragedy survivors is a powerful example of the blurring lines between charity and business. This pattern of behavior suggests a highly strategic operation where every public appearance is calculated for maximum commercial exposure and personal advancement. When this same individual later takes the stage to warn the world about the ethical dangers of artificial intelligence, the message is entirely hollowed out by the commercial reality. The public is left with a sense of profound cynicism, recognizing that the high-minded rhetoric is merely a marketing tool designed to maintain a high global profile and secure lucrative corporate partnerships. This dynamic ultimately damages the credibility of the international forums that host these speeches, as they risk being viewed as complicit in a cynical exercise of celebrity brand rehabilitation. In looking at the future of public advocacy and global leadership, it is clear that the modern audience is no longer satisfied with superficial presentations or elegant scripts that are contradicted by personal lifestyle choices. The demand for authentic, consistent, and lived leadership has never been greater, especially when dealing with profound societal challenges like child safety and technological ethics. As the public continues to scrutinize the actions of high-profile figures, the gap between performative branding and genuine service will only become more obvious. The events in Geneva serve as a powerful cautionary tale for any modern celebrity who believes that a global title or a polished media image can substitute for true consistency and moral authority. True influence cannot be manufactured by public relations teams or enforced through legal declarations. It must be earned through a lifetime of dedicated, authentic, and transparent alignment between the words spoken on the stage and the actions taken behind closed doors. The ongoing saga of the Sussex's post-royal journey continues to provide a fascinating study in the complexities of modern fame media manipulation and the enduring power of public intuition. As they navigate their independent path, the couple will inevitably face continued scrutiny from a public that is increasingly unwilling to tolerate the classic contradiction of individuals not living the life they preach. Whether they will adjust their strategy to focus on more authentic, supportive, and consistent advocacy remains to be seen, but the lessons of the past few years are unmistakable. The global audience has made it clear that they will no longer accept the lecture if the messenger refuses to walk the walk. The true test of any global leader or public figure lies in their willingness to subject themselves to the same standards they demand from the rest of society. And until that alignment is achieved, the speeches delivered on the international stage will continue to fall on indifferent ears. This concludes our comprehensive three-part investigation into the modern dynamics of celebrity advocacy, public perception, and the critical importance of authenticity in leadership. We have explored the intricate details of recent international events, analyzed the subtle physical indicators of public discomfort, and examined the profound contradictions that continue to shape the global conversation surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. We want to thank you for joining us throughout this deep dive and for being an active part of our growing community of discerning viewers. Your engagement, comments, and analytical insights are what make this channel a unique space for thoughtful discussion on the defining cultural movements of our time. Please remember to share your thoughts on this analysis in the section below, as we always value your perspective on these complex public events. Stay tuned for our upcoming investigative reports, where we will continue to bring you the unbiased, detailed breakdowns you have come to expect. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our next presentation.